The war was finally over. At least, that's what they said. But the battlefield still burned. Broken ships, fallen mechs, and the bodies of soldiers, human and alien, lay everywhere. Smoke filled the air. It was hard to breathe. The sky was dark with dust and fire. Private Jack Rowan walked alone. His uniform was torn, and his left arm was bleeding. He had been part of the last squad sent to clean up. Now, even they were gone. He didn't know if he was lost or just forgotten. His boots crunched over metal and bones. Every few steps he checked his surroundings. The silence was strange. It wasn't peaceful. It felt wrong. Too quiet. Suddenly, he heard something. Sound, very soft, like breathing, but not human. Jack froze. He looked around. Nothing. Then he heard it again. A low, rough breath, like a machine trying to stay alive. He followed the sound. It led him to a large pile of broken armor and debris. Something under it was glowing. Jack moved closer. Carefully, he pushed away a burned metal plate. And then he saw it. An alien. A Travax warrior. It was huge, almost twice the size of a human. Its purple skin was covered in blood. One of its arms was missing, and its legs were crushed under metal. The armor on its chest was cracked, and a weak blue light blinked from its suit, but the alien was alive. Its chest moved slowly. Its eyes, dark and glowing, opened just a little. Jack stepped back. His hand went to his gun. This was the enemy. The same species that had killed thousands of humans. The same warriors who had destroyed Earth's outer colonies. Why was it still alive? His comm unit buzzed. A voice spoke in his ear. Unit 7 report. What's your status? Jack replied, still on site. I found something, someone. The area is secure. No survivors expected. Return to pickup zone in 5 minutes. Do not engage with enemy remains. He looked at the alien again. Its eyes were watching him, not with hate, but with fear and pain. Jack's finger tightened on his trigger, but he didn't shoot. Something inside him felt wrong. The war was over. The enemy was defeated. What would be the point of killing a dying soldier? Then the alien did something Jack did not expect. It moved its hand, barely, and pointed to its chest. Jack stepped closer. The alien's mouth opened slightly. A strange, clicking voice came out, hard to understand. But Jack heard one clear word: help. He froze. The Toravax were not known to beg. They were proud, strong, and silent to the end. This one was asking for help? Jack looked around. No one else was near. No drones. No cameras. Just him and this dying warrior. His comm buzzed again. Unit 7, you have 3 minutes. Leave the field. Jack didn't move. He looked down at the alien. Purple blood leaked from its chest. Its eyes were still on him. Not full of pride now, but desperation. Jack whispered, "Why should I help you?" The alien didn't answer. Maybe it couldn't. Maybe. It knew it didn't deserve help. But it still looked at him with hope. Weak hope, but real. Jack's hands trembled. His whole life, he was told that aliens were monsters, killers, not worth saving. But now, looking at this broken warrior, he saw something else. Not a monster, just a soldier. Like him, a tired, dying soldier. Jack dropped his gun. He knelt beside the alien and started pulling off the metal pieces trapping it. The alien groaned in pain. His comm screamed, "JSCK, what are you doing?" "That's a direct order. Do not interact with the enemy." Jack didn't answer. He kept working. His fingers bled. The metal was sharp and heavy. But he didn't stop. Finally, he pulled the last piece free. The alien gasped. Its body twitched. It looked at Jack with new eyes. Jack said, "You're not dying today." Suddenly, behind him, he heard something move. He grabbed his gun and turned fast, but there was nothing. Just wind. He looked back at the alien. It had passed out again. Jack stood up. He knew what he was doing was wrong. If command found out, he would be court-martialed. Maybe worse, but something deep inside told him. This alien wasn't just a survivor. This alien was a warning. A key. To something bigger. Maybe even the next war. Jack looked at the sky. He had one choice. Run, or stay and protect the last enemy who might save them all. The desert wind howled like a ghost, blowing ash across the battlefield. Jack Rowan was running. Behind him, smoke still rose from the ruins where he had found the alien. His breathing was heavy. His heart was louder than his footsteps. On his back, wrapped in a burned survival tarp, was the paralyzed alien warrior, unconscious, bleeding and still alive. Jack had broken every rule in the book. He had left the pickup zone. He had ignored direct orders. He had saved the enemy, and now he was on his own. Inside the command tent, the air was cold and dry. The war was over, but the general still acted like it wasn't. Maps filled the screens. Red dots, blue dots, old positions, dead zones. Jack stood straight. His face was covered in dirt and dried blood. Across from him sat Commander Rain. Cold eyes, gray beard, and metals that had never touched real fire. "Let me understand this," Rain said slowly. "You found a living Torvax, and instead of finishing it, you carried it off the field?" Jack didn't answer. "Do you understand what this means, soldier?" Rain leaned forward. "That thing could have killed hundreds of our people, and you chose to help it?" Jack looked at the ground. "It asked for help," Rain laughed. A dry, cruel laugh. "They don't beg, Jack. You were tricked. You're lucky it didn't stab you the moment you turned your back." Jack's fists clenched. He wanted to say it. That he had looked into the alien's eyes. That it wasn't a trick. That it was scared, alone, and hurt. Just like he had been once on the first day of war. But he stayed silent. Rain stood. "You're suspended. Effective immediately. You are not to return to the ruins. If that creature dies, it dies. That's war." Jack sat by a small fire. It wasn't for warmth, it was for light. The sky above was black with two moons hanging. Like silent watchers. The alien, still wrapped, twitched in its sleep. Its breathing was uneven. Jack checked the first aid kit. Only one stimpack left. Barely enough to keep a human alive. He stared at it. Then at the alien. He sighed, then injected the stim into the alien's chest. A low hum echoed from the alien's armor as it absorbed the medicine. The alien groaned, then suddenly, its eyes opened. Wide. Alert. Jack jumped back, hand on his sidearm. But the alien didn't move. It couldn't. Its legs were dead weight. Its body too weak. It looked at Jack, a long stare, and then it spoke again, voice rough but clearer than before. "Why?" "Save me?" Jack didn't know how to answer. So he asked instead, "Why were you still there? Why didn't your people come for you?" The alien closed its eyes, and for a moment Jack thought it had passed out again, but then it spoke quietly. "Because I knew something they wanted to forget." Jack leaned forward. "What do you mean?" The alien's voice was faint. "There is another weapon, buried deep. We were building it. Then we stopped. Too dangerous. It was hidden, but now someone wants to wake it again." Jack's blood ran cold. "What kind of weapon?" The alien opened its eyes again. "It eats stars." Silence. Only the wind moved now. Jack stared at the alien. Was this the reason no one came for him? Not because he was unimportant, but because he knew too much? Suddenly, Jack's comlink buzzed again. A new voice this time, not friendly. Private Jack Rowan, you are ordered to surrender. You are considered armed and dangerous. A drone is approaching your location. Do not resist. He looked up. A red light blinked far off in the sky, growing closer. They weren't just coming to arrest him. They were coming to silence both of them. Jack stood fast. He grabbed the alien, threw him over his shoulder again, and ran as the red drone scanned. The empty campsite, the fire still burned, but Jack and the alien were gone, far away. Hidden in the night, a human and an enemy, now fugitives together, disappeared into the desert shadows. And behind them, the truth waited, buried beneath. The dust of war. Something ancient, something hungry, something no one wanted found. The cave was silent, not the peaceful kind of silence, but the deep, heavy kind that made the ears ring. Jack held his breath as he moved deeper into the dark tunnel, his flashlight cutting through the dust. On his back, Torvax the paralyzed. Alien groaned softly. They had escaped the drone. Barely. Now. They were hiding in one of the oldest places on the planet, a long-forgotten alien structure buried beneath the hills. A place the maps didn't show. A place the war had ignored. But Torvax knew it was here. And he had whispered one word when they arrived: memory. As they crossed the rocky hills, Jack noticed strange symbols carved into the stones, circles, stars, and long lines. They looked ancient, not like war marks. Like warnings. Jack asked, "What is this place?" Torvax answered with effort, "Old home." Of the first voice, before war, before weapons. Jack didn't understand. "You mean like a temple?" Torvax nodded, weakly. Temple and vault. That word made Jack stop walking. Vault? The alien's voice was faint. Inside, memory stored. Secret code. To stop the Eater. The Eater? Torvax's eyes opened. Wide, sharp, serious. A machine. From before time. It sleeps now. But someone wants to wake it. Asterisk. The tunnel opened into a round chamber. The walls glowed faintly with blue lines. The air felt thicker, heavier, like time itself was slower here. Jack set the alien down gently. Torvax looked around like he was remembering something very old. There was a stone pillar in the center of the room. On it, a strange circular console. Jack walked toward it. His flashlight flickered. Torvax whispered, "Touch it." Jack paused. "Is it safe?" "No," the alien replied. "But it is necessary." Jack placed his hand on the console. The floor beneath him lit up. A ring of symbols began spinning around the pillar. Then a voice, but not a normal one. It was layered, echoing, deep yet distant. Voice print unrecognized, genetic code, human. Access limited. Jack stepped back. "What was that?" Torvax spoke fast now, urgent. "It knows you're not one of us, but it's listening. Ask it." Jack didn't know what to say. Then, slowly, he asked, "What is the Eater?" The chamber shook slightly. Then the voice answered, "The Eater of Suns, construct X Prime. A weapon of the Void Makers. Power source, star cores. Status, dormant. Location, unknown. Warning, do not awaken." Jack's skin went cold. This wasn't just a big gun. This was something that could destroy entire solar systems. He asked again, "Who wants to wake it?" The lights flickered. Then, the room went completely dark. A different voice now, sharp, digital, and cold. Query denied. Tracer activated. Unauthorized access. Sending alert to command. Jack's eyes widened. It sent a signal. Torvax grunted, trying to move. "You must go. They know now." Jack grabbed him. "I'm not leaving you." "No," the alien said firmly. "I know the way out. You must carry the code. Jack turned back to the pillar. The console glowed again, now showing a string of moving symbols. Data copy in progress. Human neural interface. Unsafe. Jack frowned. What does that mean? But before anyone could answer, the console sent a sharp flash of blue light into Jack's eyes. He screamed, then everything went white. Asterisk. Jack opened his eyes. Lying flat on the cold floor, his head throbbed. Images raced through his mind, stars exploding, machines devouring planets, screaming voices in languages he didn't know. He sat up, dizzy. What did it do to me? Tervax replied, It gave you the key. The code is inside you now. Jack stood slowly, still shaking. What do I do with it? Tervax looked at him, proud, despite the pain. You run. You hide. And when the time is right, you fight. Suddenly, boom! The ground shook. A wall at the far end of the chamber exploded. Dust flew. Jack covered his eyes as red lights entered the room. Human soldiers, black armor. No flags, but Jack knew that armor. Black Order, he whispered. They're not supposed to exist. Tervax spoke fast, urgent. They want the code. They want the eater. Jack lifted his rifle. No more running. Time to fight. Asterisk. Blood dripped from Jack's shoulder. The shot had barely missed his heart. Smoke from the explosion behind them still filled the air as he limped through the narrow cave corridor, carrying Tervax over his back. The alien groaned, half-conscious. Jack could barely see, barely breathe. But he couldn't stop. Not now. The Black Order was real, and they were hunting them. Not because Tervax was a threat. But because Jack was now the key. They found a small opening in the stone, a hidden passage just wide enough to crawl through. The ceiling dripped water. Strange vines glowed faint blue on the walls. Jack dropped to his knees and slid toward Vax in first. Then he followed. The crawl felt endless. His hands were slick with sweat and blood. Rocks scraped his arms. His breath came in short, ragged gasps. Finally, a chamber. Low ceiling. Old alien stone. Broken machines in the corners. Safe. For now. Jack collapsed beside the alien, who was slowly waking. Still with me? Jack asked. Tervax blinked. Still breathing. Jack gave a short, dry laugh. That makes one of us. For a while they just sat in silence. Tervax finally spoke. You risked your life again? Why? Jack didn't answer at first. Then said, Because I've seen what humans can become when they fear the truth. The alien turned its head. You do not fear? I do, Jack said quietly, but I won't run from it. Tervax looked at him for a long time. Then, You are not like the others, Jack nodded. Neither are you. Suddenly, the ground under them clicked. Jack froze. A small metal light blinked under the dirt. Too late. Work click boom. A pulse trap exploded. It wasn't loud, but it was powerful. Jack was thrown across the room. His vision blurred. His ears rang. Tervax screamed in pain. Then silence. Jack pulled himself up. Tervax? The alien was motionless. Jack crawled over, shaking him, still breathing but unconscious, and worse. Jack looked at the wall. Symbols were glowing. Red. Something had been triggered. The chamber door behind them slammed shut, stone grinding against stone, trapping them inside. Lights flickered above. Then, a new voice coming from all around. It was mechanical, female, cold, unauthorized. Access detected. Genetic contamination confirmed. Lockdown engaged. Jack stood, heart pounding. Who's there? This is Memory Vault 7. You are inside a classified zone. You are infected with weapon protocol data. Jack's eyes narrowed. I didn't ask for it. And yet, you carry it. That is enough. Suddenly, Gas began hissing from the walls. Jack panicked. He covered Tervax with his own jacket and grabbed the alien's breathing device. There was no exit, no escape, unless... He turned to the central column in the room, a control pedestal, ancient, still active. Jack ran to it. His hand hovered over the surface. What if this is another trap? He whispered. He looked back at the alien, then pressed his palm down. The room shimmered. The gas stopped. And then everything changed. The stone walls disappeared. Suddenly, Jack was standing in an open white space, empty, silent, endless. He was alone. A voice spoke in his mind. Human carrier. To protect the code, you must be tested. Trust is not given. It must be proven. Jack looked around. Where am I? Inside your own memory. Images began appearing. Flashes of war, fire, friends dying. Screaming. Then himself, leaving behind a wounded soldier in his first mission. Too scared to help, too afraid to die. Jack fell to his knees. I remember, the voice asked. Do you regret? Yes, Jack whispered. Every day. Would you do it differently? I already am. The light faded. Jack opened his eyes. He was back in the chamber. The gas had cleared. The wall door was open. Tervax was still breathing. The pedestal voice whispered one last time. Trial complete. Code bearer confirmed. Proceed with caution. Trust is your weapon. As Jack helped Tervax to his feet, the alien looked at him with new respect. You passed the trial of memory, Tervax said. I didn't pass, Jack replied. Survived it. The alien gave a weak laugh. For now, that is enough. Together, they walked into the next tunnel. Not knowing what was waiting, but knowing they would face it together. Jack was dreaming, but not his dream. Flashes of alien stars. A red sky filled with 3 moons. Towers of crystal rising above dark oceans. Then screams. Fire. Metal tearing through flesh. A giant machine, black, alive, devouring a city in seconds. Jack gasped and sat up, eyes wide, drenched in sweat. He wasn't alone. Tervax was still lying beside him, unconscious, but something was happening. His body was glowing, faint, pulsing, like energy trying to come back to life. Somewhere, deep inside Tervax's broken body, his mind was fighting. He stood alone in a black field, staring at a wall of fire. Voices from the past called out, You failed the Legion. You trusted the humans. You are no warrior. Tervax fell to his knees, but then a hand reached out, not alien. Human Jack's voice echoed, You're not alone anymore. The fire vanished, and Tervax opened his eyes. Jack jumped back as Tervax suddenly gasped for air, a deep, sharp breath like someone reborn. The alien's chest lights flared. One of his paralyzed hands moved, just barely. Jack smiled. You're back. Tervax blinked slowly. I saw everything. Jack nodded. Me too? But before they could say more, a sound, footsteps, metal boots, someone was coming. Jack raised his weapon and moved to the tunnel entrance. 3 figures stepped into view, human soldiers. But not Black Order. These were regular military. Uniforms. Jack recognized and he knew the one in front. Mason? Jack said, lowering his gun slightly. Mason, tall and cold-eyed, stared back. Jack, he said. So it's true. You're alive, and you're helping it. He looked past Jack, eyes falling on Tervax. You've lost it, man. Jack raised his weapon again. Don't come any closer. Mason laughed. You're pointing a gun at your own squad? I'm protecting someone who saved my life. He's the enemy. Not anymore. Mason's face hardened. You don't get it. This isn't about sides now. That alien's brain is carrying a map. A code. Command wants it. Jack's stomach sank. You knew? We all knew. That's why they left him behind. He knows where the Eater is buried. Jack's voice shook. You were sent to clean up, not rescue me. Mason didn't answer. That was answer enough. Without warning, one of the soldiers behind Mason fired not at Jack at Tor Vax. The shot hit the wall, inches from the alien's head. Torvax tried to move, but his body still wasn't ready. Jack fired back. Chaos exploded in the tunnel. Sparks flew. Bullets echoed. Dust filled the air. Jack dragged behind cover, returning fire with one hand, shielding the alien with the other. Come on, he whispered. Wake up fully, please. Then, Torvax's hand closed into a fist. His body glowed again. The stone beneath him cracked. His voice roared. Enough. A wave of energy exploded from his chest. Not fire, not sound, just force. The walls shook. The soldiers were thrown backwards like dolls. Silence followed. Jack stood in shock. Torvax was sitting up now, breathing hard. One eye burned bright blue. I am no longer broken, he said. Jack nodded, stunned. You awakened. Torvax looked at him. Because you believed I could. Outside the cave, the sky had begun to change. Storm clouds gathered unnaturally fast. Torvax looked up, his voice low and full of fear. They are calling it, he said. The Eater? Torvax nodded. And we are already too late. Jack tightened his grip on his weapon. Then we'll stop them. One way or another. The two stood together, man and alien. Enemies no longer. Now. The only hope left. It was strange to see a human city again. Not the burning kind. Not ruins. An actual, living city with people, lights, and air that didn't taste like war. Jack Rowan hadn't walked streets like this in over a year. Now he walked them in silence. Hood pulled low, weapon hidden, and a dying alien disguised under a heavy cloak. No one stared. No one noticed. But Jack couldn't shake the feeling. Something here was wrong. They had made it to Haven Station, the last neutral zone before the deep planetary core. It was a military outpost turned refugee hub, full of civilians, black market dealers, and off-duty soldiers. Jack had once called this place safe. Now, every hallway felt like a trap. Torvax limped beside him, still weak but walking. Every few minutes, he coughed, a sharp, rattling sound not made for human ears. Jack leaned in. We just need a medic. Someone who won't ask questions. The alien nodded. This place stinks of lies. Jack half smiled. Welcome to humanity. They found her in a supply shack behind a bar. Dr. Kara Voss, former military, now off the grid. She froze when she saw Torvax, her hand reaching toward a panic button. Jack stepped in front of it. Please, he's not here to hurt anyone. He's injured. He saved my life. Kara's eyes moved between Jack and the alien. You're supposed to be dead, she whispered. I know, Jack said. She looked at Torvax again, then lowered her hand. Inside. Now. As Kara worked, injecting Torvax with stabilizers, she asked, What the hell happened to you, Jack? He hesitated. Then, command lied. There's a weapon. The Eater. Someone wants to wake it. He, nodding to Torvax, knows how to stop it. Kara's face went pale. You shouldn't have come here. Jack narrowed his eyes. Why? She didn't answer. A second later, her eyes flicked toward the door. Too late. Clang. The door slammed shut. Jack drew his weapon, but metal arms grabbed him from behind. Two soldiers in Haven uniforms forced him to the ground. A third walked in, calm, confident. Commander Rain. Found you, Rain said, smiling without warmth. You always had a hero complex, Jack. Never thought you'd actually fall for alien sympathy propaganda. Jack spat blood. He's not the enemy. Rain crouched beside him. No, you are. He walked to Turvax, who was now sedated on the table. "You have no idea what he's carrying, do you?" Rain said. "The map, the failsafe, the command codes. He's the last link to the weapon." Jack struggled. "Then why not protect him?" Rain's smile vanished. "Because we don't want to stop it. We want to control it." Rain turned to Kara. "Thanks for the assist, Doctor. You'll get your clearance restored." Kara nodded, but her hands shook. Jack looked at her. "You helped them?" Kara didn't answer, but her eyes told the truth. She hated herself for it. Still, she didn't stop them as the soldiers dragged Jack and Turvax toward a black transport shuttle waiting outside. Inside the shuttle, Jack sat handcuffed beside the alien, who was still unconscious. One soldier sat across from them, silent, watching. Then, a whisper in Jack's ear, "Don't move. I'm getting you out." Jack turned his head slightly. The soldier pulled off his helmet, revealing Mason, the same man who tried to capture them in the caves. Jack's jaw clenched. "You?" Mason nodded. "I was ordered to kill you, but I saw the code too. The Eater isn't a weapon. It's a curse. And they're insane if they think they can use it." He tapped a small button on his chest. Beep dot, the shuttle lights cut. Sirens blared. Explosions outside. Chaos again dot as alarms screamed. Mason freed Jack and handed him a keycard. "Infirmary Sector 9. That's where they'll try to extract the code from the alien's brain. You have 10 minutes before they start." Jack looked at Turvax, still limp beside him. "This time," he whispered, "I'm not leaving anyone behind." He grabbed his weapon and ran toward the fire. 9 minutes. That's all Jack had. He ran down the cold steel hallway of Infirmary Sector 9, boots echoing like gunshots. Red lights flashed around him. Sirens screamed. Voices shouted from distant rooms behind him. Chaos. Ahead of him. The most important decision of his life: save the alien who trusted him, or let the code be stolen and risk the awakening of a machine that eats stars. Turvax lay on a glowing slab, surrounded by machines. His chest was open, not bleeding, but pulsing with strange light. A human technician stood above him, inserting neural probes. Commander Rain watched from the side, calm and cold. "Begin extraction," Rain ordered. The tech hesitated. "We could damage him permanently." "I don't care." Suddenly crash. The door exploded inward, smoke and sparks. Jack walked through it, rifle up, eyes locked on Rain. "Step away from him," he said. Rain raised an eyebrow. "Still pretending to be a hero?" "I'm not pretending anymore." Jack and Rain circled each other in the room as alarms blared. Rain sneered. "You think saving one alien matters? We can control the Eater. We can become gods." Jack shook his head. "You don't understand. That thing doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't make gods. It kills them. You're afraid of power. I've seen what power without soul becomes." They both fired at the same time. Jack Dove hit the ground, rolled. A blast hit the wall above him. He aimed for the neural device instead of Rain. Bang! The probe sparked and died. Turvax gasped and sat up, ripping the wires from his body. Rain turned. Too slow. The alien's fist hit him like a hammer. Rain flew across the room and didn't get up. Turvax was breathing hard, glowing with energy, brighter than before. Jack looked at him, stunned. You're different." "I remember now," Turvax said. "All of it. My mind was broken before, but now I am whole." Jack helped him stand. "Can you stop it?" "The Eater is moving," Turvax said, "awakening in orbit. If we reach the main uplink, I can shut it down. But we only have minutes." Jack nodded. "Then let's move." They raced through fire-filled corridors toward the central uplink tower. Explosions rocked the station. Outside, through windows, Jack saw it. a massive shape forming in orbit, a machine of impossible size unfolding like a black flower. Tervax winced. It hears us. It knows I carry the shutdown key. The control room was ahead, but guarded. Two Black Order soldiers raised weapons. Tervax stepped forward. Leave or be erased. They didn't listen, but before they could fire, the floor under them cracked and swallowed them whole. Tervax had done it with his mind. Jack stared. You've become something else. Tervax nodded. Something I never wanted to be, but must be now. Inside the control room, the final interface waited, a floating sphere of light and shadow. Alien, ancient, Tervax approached. Jack stood beside him. We stop it here? Tervax looked down. Yes, but at a cost. Jack frowned. What cost? If I send the signal, I die. My mind must merge with the core. The shutdown requires my full essence. Jack's voice broke. No, there has to be another way. There isn't. Silence. Then Tervax smiled. The first real smile Jack had seen. You gave me something no human or Tervax ever gave me, he said. A second chance. Jack didn't speak. He just placed his hand on the alien's shoulder. I won't forget you. Tervax stepped into the light. It surrounded him. The room shook. A deep cosmic scream echoed across the stars. And then silence. The light vanished. Outside the window, the massive machine in orbit froze, then slowly crumbled into dust. Like time caught up with it all at once. The eater was no more. And so was Tor. Vax. Days later, Jack sat alone at the edge of a quiet valley. Above him, a statue stood, half human, half alien, joined at the back, a new symbol of unity carved into stone. Beside him, a child asked, who was he? Jack smiled softly. He was my friend, and he saved all of us. The wind carried the sound of peace. Humanity had survived because one man trusted the enemy. And the enemy chose to become more than a warrior. He chose to become a legend.